everybody, and welcome to 10-Minute Talks. This is our first episode. I'm Asia Edwards, and I'm the 2021 president of Riverside Pride. Every month, we're going to have a new speaker joining us, and today we're starting off with self-care. After a really rough year in 2020, we thought we'd want to kick it off right and give everybody some tips on how to spend a little time taking care of yourself. So I am joined by Courtney Whitehawk. She is the founder of Confluence Healing Arts. She's a spiritual teacher, a medicine woman, a shamanic practitioner.
I am.
All right. With a Master of Science degree in health and wellness and education. She's also a nature connection mentor and a Reiki healing master. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Reiki is a hands-on healing technique.
All right. So, Courtney, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Asia, for inviting me. I'm honored to be here, and I love what you're doing with Riverside Pride. Just so really excited what you're doing for the community. So I'm so happy to be here to talk about self-care today.
Excellent. Well, I know I definitely need some myself. So let's start out with the first question.
Okay.
What does self-care mean to you, and how do you define it?
So what does self-care mean to me, and how do I define it? I think the most important thing about defining self-care is that there's a dog coming
There's a
to
dog
visit
coming.
us. Self-care means going with the flow of the moment and being aware and alert of what's happening around you. And sometimes self-care, I think it's defined best on an airplane. They say when the mask drops, put your own mask on first. You can't help someone else unless you've taken care of yourself. And so it's counterintuitive for us. We, especially as sensitive human beings and kind, caring human beings, it is our nature to try to care for other people first. And what then happens is that we are a well-run drive. So we have to put our own mask on first. To do self-care, though, means truly knowing yourself authentically. And that's a problem for a lot of people. A lot of people don't authentically know themselves. We live in our limiting stories. We live in the beliefs that of what other people have told us who we are and what we are and how we are, but we don't truly and authentically know ourselves. And so how can you care for a being if you don't authentically know who that being is? So a huge part of self-care is knowing yourself. Then once you know yourself, you can learn what works for you to care for yourself. When we say self-care, we tend to think of manicures and pedicures and massages, but that may not be self-care for me. Self-care for me is actually sitting right here under this tree. If you ever need to find me, well, actually, if I'm under the tree, leave me alone, right? Because this is self-care for me, sitting by the river and having that quiet time. So I authentically know myself, and I know that sitting out here alone and quiet for 15 minutes is the number one best thing I can do for myself.
Nice. Excellent. And now, just kind of a little tag along to that, I feel like it's hard enough for every human, right, to authentically know themselves. I feel like maybe it's even more so for the LGBTQ population.
So true.
Because
yes.
we're taught to be suppressed, right? We're supposed to suppress who we really are, authentic selves. And so then it's an even longer process getting comfortable with yourself and being more in touch with that, because society says don't do that.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that is so critical for the LGBTQ population, because just as you said, you have been taught for so long and told by so many different people that this choice you've made isn't okay. Wait, what? Or that you shouldn't be the way, and it's just ludicrous and ridiculous. As things are changing in our world, more and more people are understanding how ridiculous those kinds of comments and beliefs are. But that doesn't help you now. You've listened to that your whole life. And so I really sincerely encourage everyone in the LGBTQ population and community to get to know yourself. Who am I authentically, and not who am I? What roles am I taking on? What pieces of my identity am I taking on because that was an expectation from someone else? And a lot of it comes from expectations, and we feel like we're trying to live up to what other people want from us and expect from us. And man, you just can't be successful and carry on your own soul journey.
One of my very good friends once told me that expectations are prepaid resentments.
Oh yeah, well said. Yeah, that's yes. Yep.
All right. Well, next question for
Okay.
you. Have you found with your clients that people are struggling with self-care more now than ever because of the pandemic and all of the challenges that have arisen because of that?
Absolutely. If anybody says no to that, definitely.
It's kind of a given.
Yes, definitely yes. I mean, this is a difficult time, and like you said, so you have a community of people who are learning themselves and coming to know themselves, maybe like a coming of age type thing, right? But then to do that in this larger picture of a world shift, a world change. And so we do struggle and question our identity, and we're learning a whole new way of interacting with the world, with interacting with one another. There's this whole new normal, this whole paradigm shift. But what's interesting though also is that it's an opportunity for shift. When else in the history of the world have we been able to say, no, I'm not doing that, and we don't even have to give a reason anymore?
Right.
So while it's extremely difficult on the backdrop of what is happening historically in our community, in our country, in our world, on our planet, we have an opportunity to shift our consciousness and come to a different way of relating with the world. So while it is extremely difficult, it is also in a way a gift.
Right? Every challenge is an opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just, it is a cosmic shift that's happening. It really is.
Awesome. And then last question for you is hit us with our top 3 to 5 tips for how we can practice self-care.
Okay, well I actually have like 25, so I'm gonna
10-minute talks, 10 minutes.
So, tips for self-care. Again, I always say, refer back to the first thing I said. Know yourself. Know yourself and what is going to really be best for you. And have the courage to do that thing and to step away from friends that may say, well, no, I don't want to go for a hike with you. Okay, but that's what I'm going to do right now, right? It doesn't mean you don't have to be friends with those people, right? But know thyself and treat thyself. Another big thing that I recommend is something that I already said, which is what I call sit spot. Nature connection. I could go on and on about this as a nature connection mentor and guide. The research, the amount of research is epic. Hear that bird? Didn't it just make you smile? Right? The research that shows what our being in nature does. It reduces our stress hormones. It increases our creativity, our compassion. We sleep better. And it actually increases and boosts our immune system. The natural killer cells in our body are actually increased by being out in nature. So definitely I encourage nature time. The other big thing that I recommend, I work with my clients to say, get grounded, centered, balanced, and focused. And if you can really look at each of those words, get grounded. There's the nature connection. There's just being solid in who you are and what you believe. Get centered. Being centered is being authentic when your mind and your heart are connected and communicating with each other. But we have this big divide between our head and our heart. It's our voice. We often say things that we really don't mean from our heart. And that's about getting centered. Get centered. Let your word be your wand. We have an ability to communicate the depths of our soul, but it's very hard to do that. It takes work. It takes time. So that's a little bit about getting centered. Being balanced is really about looking at all of the aspects of your life and saying, okay, where am I out of balance? What triggers me? What sets me off? And then how do I get back in alignment, right? And we don't think a lot about that. We don't think a lot about how can I stay in balance, but yet still be growing on a soul level and on a soul connection level to other people. And then comes focus. In our world today, there are so many distractions. I actually have a folder on my desk that I labeled distractions because there's all these other things, right, that I can get involved with. And we as dynamic and interesting people, right? All of you out there, I know everybody goes through this. We're always being invited to participate in other things that may be moving us towards our soul goals and the things we want to achieve in life and in this lifetime. But some of those things are distractions, and being able to discern that difference really is a transformational thing in our lives. So yeah, so I say get grounded, centered, balanced, and focused, because that is life-changing, and that is the best way that we can honor ourselves and take care of ourselves.
Excellent. Great tips. I'm going to go work on those.
Yeah, well, I've been working on those for several decades now, and it's very important to be gentle with ourselves. That takes time, because we come to a journey of self-improvement and self-growth with baggage. We come to, all of us do, no matter what we've been taught and told and learned. Some of those things are useful and great, and we all carry wisdom with us that we've learned, but we also carry that baggage, right? So this isn't an overnight journey of like, oh, Courtney Whitehawk said grounded, centered, balanced, and focused. Okay, I'm done. This takes years. Yeah, it does. It takes years of conscious effort, and every day saying, today is a new day. Today I have an opportunity to be a better human being than I was yesterday. And that was honestly where I started on my journey. I remember waking up every morning and saying, today I get another chance to become a better human being than I was yesterday. But what better human being means, that may not mean the same thing for you or you or you, right? I want to be my best human.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for joining us and
Thank
being
you,
our
Asia.
inaugural episode.
Well, I'm excited, again, just so excited to be part of it, and very excited for how the LGBTQ community is developing and growing in support and love in this community. And it is baby steps, and I think it's so important that each of you find your voice in whatever way it is to help this community to grow.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
If you'd like more information about what Courtney does, she is one of our bronze sponsors. And for our resource directory, you can find her contact information on our website, riversidepridetx.org. We'll see you next time.
Bye, thanks.